Tyreek Hill to the Chiefs. It's only a matter of time. The countdown has begun. Tyreek Hill is on the verge of rejoining the Kansas City Chiefs, and the entire football world is watching. A big-time player returning to a big-time team with one thing on his mind: championship glory. Hill knows what it takes to win, and there's no better place to chase another ring than back in red and gold with Mahomes and Kelce by his side. This move isn't just exciting, it's potentially game-changing. Hill's speed, explosiveness, and chemistry with the team could be the final piece that turns the Chiefs into an unstoppable Super Bowl force once again. Chiefs Kingdom, get ready. The cheetah is coming home. Hello, guys. No dynasty stays untouchable forever. One day you're the headline, the next, a footnote. Still think the Chiefs rule the AFC? You might want to reconsider. Because there's a storm brewing, and it's dressed in purple and black. But before you cash in your doubts and bet against Mahomes and the gang, you better hear every word. Watch until the end. Smash that like button. Comment W if you still believe in the Chiefs, or L if you think the fire's fizzled. And don't forget to subscribe. Let's ride. They say greatness doesn't vanish overnight, but in the NFL, it can evaporate faster than most even notice. For years now, Kansas City has perched atop the AFC like emperors on a golden throne. 3 Super Bowl rings since 2020. Mahomes dropping no-look lasers. Andy Reid calling plays like he borrowed heaven's own playbook. Travis Kelce treating end zones like his personal dance floor. Arrowhead Stadium quaking like a Sunday seismic wave. That wasn't just dominance. That was the gold standard. But the truth about dynasties, they're targets. And every single one of those 20 other AFC squads is starving. This winter, that crown, it got dented. Now listen to me. Like someone who's watched dynasties rise and crumble, like cheap scaffolding. The Chiefs haven't fallen off a cliff yet, but something's different. Something's quietly dangerous. In the NFL, it's not just about how hard you punch, it's about how well you reload. And this offseason, the Chiefs had no choice but to reload. Let's talk about the battlefield, the AFC gauntlet. Joe Burrow, cold as ice. Josh Allen, arm like a cannon and vengeance in his veins. Jaguars, rising fast, young. But the Ravens, they didn't just knock on the door. They kicked it clean off the hinges. Baltimore's draft haul got people rethinking the entire power structure. Even CBS Sports bumped the Chiefs to second in their AFC power rankings. Now, to the casual fan, that might sound harmless, but to the real ones, second place is a red flag. It's not praise, it's a warning. Jordan Dejani from CBS wasn't just tossing out takes, he was sending a message. Sure, he complimented the Chiefs draft Josh Simmons at 32, massive talent, no doubt. Had it not been for the knee issue, he'd have gone higher. Put that mountain next to Creed Humphrey, and Mahomes might have himself a fortress. But Simmons is still a gamble. And you don't bet your dynasty on a maybe, you bet it on certainty. Now, Omar Norman Lott in the second round, that pick, that one hits. He's got that twitch, that burst, a pocket disruptor. Put him next to Chris Jones, and you've got an O-line's nightmare. But again, potential ain't the same as production. Production gets you hype. Production gets you rings. Jalen Royals out of Utah State. He's a sleeper. While folks were glued to the SEC, Royals was grinding like someone had a vendetta. Sharp routes, sticky hands, underrated burst. He might be the steal of the draft, but to catch passes from Mahomes, you gotta earn it. That wide receiver room's a battlefield, not a red carpet. And don't forget Brashard Smith from SMU. Man's not just fast, he's an explosion waiting to happen. You give him open space, touchdown. Blink and he's gone. But let's not sugarcoat it. KC's seen plenty of explosive guys come and go. Being quick ain't enough. You got to understand the scheme, block with intent, and protect that playbook like it's sacred. If Coach Reid can't trust you, you won't see the field. Now let me land the plane. This ain't about whether the Chiefs can be great. It's about whether they still are. That's a different conversation. There is little, because when you start leaning on what used to be, that's when the league flies past you. This upcoming season, it's a defining chapter. They're not the obvious favorite anymore. That era's over. The window, it ain't closed, but it's fogged. See a flicker of light. But is it sunrise? Or a torch held by the team coming to burn your kingdom down? That team wearing the crown? It might not be Kansas City anymore, because Baltimore isn't just knocking, they're breaking the gates wide open. Jordan Dajani didn't just casually nudge the Ravens to the top of the AFC rankings. He made a calculated declaration. They retained Ronnie Stanley at left tackle, a strategic insurance policy for Lamar Jackson, who thrives in a clean pocket. Then they secured DeAndre Hopkins in free agency. Say what you will about his age, the man's hands are vault grade. He doesn't drop passes, he snatches them like a magnet on metal. And the masterstroke? They drafted Malachi Starks, the top safety in the entire draft class. Try launching a deep ball his way, and you might as well prepare a formal apology to your offensive coordinator. Still not convinced? They stole Mike Green at pick 59, the nation's sack leader, with 17 quarterback takedowns. That's not a stat. That's a statement. Yeah, you unleash that kind of pressure on a defense already built to break ribs, and now every offense in the AFC is officially on notice. Let's be brutally honest. The Chiefs had a solid draft, packed with promise. But the Ravens, they drafted with urgency, precision, and impact. This isn't just chess, it's checkmate in motion. Look, I know some of you bleed red and gold. You hear Mahomes and your adrenaline spikes. But blind loyalty doesn't win, Lombardi. Real fans analyze the full landscape. If Kansas City wants to stay king, these rookies can't simmer. They have to ignite from day one. There's no room left for slow development. You want another ring? You need to explode out of the gate. Now, I know what you're thinking. We've been here before. They'll figure it out. And maybe they will. But maybe, just maybe, this is the season the Dynasty feels. Time tap it on the shoulder and whisper, clock's up. Because this ain't about doubting the Chiefs. It's about facing reality. If you think the rest of the AFC is going to wait while KC regroups, you're dreaming. The hunt is on, and the Chiefs, they're no longer untouchable. They've got a target on their backs the size of Missouri. Let's rip off the curtain. Greatness breeds enemies. Sustained greatness breeds assassins. Yes, Kansas City built a dynasty, but they didn't do it in a vacuum. Every time they hoisted a Lombardi, every time Mahomes flexed that champion grin, every team in the league took it personally. And now, Baltimore isn't just competing, they're calculating. They've studied Casey's formula, and now they're building a blueprint to dismantle it, brick by brick, limb by limb. But before we hand over the throne, let's talk about Kansas City's core. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. Don't get it twisted, he's still the coldest QB in the game. He makes throws that violate physics. But even Mahomes' superpowers are enhanced by what surrounds him. An elite offensive line, explosive weapons, and Andy Reid orchestrating plays like a maestro. This offseason, that infrastructure shifted. Tyreek Hill's long gone. Mahomes adapted, Juju stepped up for a time. Now, the receiver room is a question mark. Rashee Rice has talent, but off-field concerns shadow his rise. Kadarius Toney is electric when healthy, but he rarely stays on stage long enough to finish the magic act. The rest, young, raw, unproven. Now, you're betting the farm on a rookie? Jalen Royals, no matter how high his ceiling is, he's about to meet defenses that exist to destroy hope. That's why this draft class isn't just important, it's existential. Josh Simmons? That knee better hold, because Mahomes' survival depends on it. You lose him, and the entire engine implodes. Omar Norman-Lott, he needs to become a force next to Chris Jones, because that interior pass rush needs to be violent, fast, and unrelenting. Otherwise, Lamar Burrow Allen? They'll camp in the pocket like it's a penthouse suite. And here's the coldest truth of all. The Chiefs don't scare people like they used to. Opponents used to enter Arrowhead like lambs to the slaughter. Now, they walk in with confidence. They've watched film. They see vulnerability. They circle that Week 7 matchup like it's blood in the water. Don't believe it? Ask the Bengals. Ask the Bills. Ask the rest of a conference that's done waiting. The up-and-coming Texans. The hungry Bengals. The battle-tested Bills. They all smell the same thing. Weakness. And it's not just about roster holes. It's about fatigue. Because no matter how elite your core is, you can only ride them so far before the wheels begin to wobble. Just look at history. The Patriots. The Legion of Boom. The 90s Cowboys. Even dynasties have expiration dates. And the Chiefs? They're staring straight at theirs, whether they realize it or not. The moment you're asking rookies to fill Super Bowl shoes, you're skating on ice that's thinning by the day. So, where's the hope? Where's the counterpunch? It's in execution. It's in trust. It's in Mahomes digging deeper into his magician's hat and building new chemistry from scratch. It's in Andy Reid scripting plays so confusing defenders look like they're reading hieroglyphics. It's in Spagnuolo dialing up exotic pressure packages that keep quarterbacks guessing and gasping. But most of all, it's in urgency. That's the key word, urgency. If the Chiefs think they can cruise into the season, treat September like a dress rehearsal, and fix the cracks by Halloween, they're not just mistaken, they're doomed, because the AFC isn't slowing down. And Baltimore, they already fired the first shot. Now, I'm not here to tell you Kansas City's dynasty is over. That'd be naive. They still have Mahomes, still have Reid, still have that red and gold pedigree. But here's the truth. The margin for error is now razor thin. You don't stay a dynasty because of what you've done. You stay a dynasty because of what you do next, because you evolve, you adjust, and you refuse to blink. And right now there are questions. Can Josh Simmons hold up in the trenches with that knee? Can Jalen Royals rise and become a WR1 in a sea of doubters? Can Chris Jones continue anchoring this defense without wearing the weight of it all? Can this rookie class truly replace the leadership, poise, and production of the veterans who are gone? Meanwhile, Baltimore isn't asking questions, they're making statements. They have Malachi Starks, a no-nonsense, bone-rattling safety who makes wideouts flinch before the snap. They have Mike Green, a sack artist about to bulldoze AFC backfields. They have DeAndre Hopkins, who might have lost a gear but gained a decade's worth of wisdom. The Ravens didn't rebuild, they reloaded, then aimed the barrel straight at Kansas City and dared them to respond. So yeah, you can talk about potential. You can say, just wait until Mahomes flips the switch. But while you're waiting, Baltimore's installing alarm systems on the throne. They're not hoping to win. They're preparing to take everything, because dynasties don't die with explosions. They die with whispers. They fade when the fear disappears. And right now, Kansas City has to reignite that fear, not with talk, not with hype videos, not with TikToks, but with wins. With dominance, with that old school intensity that kept defensive coordinators up at night sweating over Mahomes and praying for mercy. Yeah, so if you're still riding with the Chiefs, this is your moment. This ain't just another season. This is a defining season, a line in the sand season. You either remind the world who you are, or they'll write your legacy's obituary and crown the next contender. Final CCA, Chiefs Kingdom. It's your turn to speak. Do you still believe this team is a dynasty? Are you riding with Mahomes, Reid, and the next generation of stars? Or do you believe the Ravens have already taken the crown? Let me know in the comments. Type W if your faith is unshaken. Type L if you think the fire's fading. Smash that like button to keep this conversation alive. Subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter in this war for AFC dominance. Because if you're a real fan, this isn't just content. This is your battleground. Don't stay silent. You think the dynasty is crumbling? You think Kansas City's reign is finished? Don't hit the panic button just yet, because what I'm about to unpack might flip your entire mindset upside down. The draft has landed. The chessboard is shifting, and the fire, it's still burning. Watch until the end. Smash that like. Drop a W if you still believe in the Chiefs, or an L if your faith is wavering. Hit subscribe, because this ride ain't over Not even close. Let me be crystal clear from the jump. Quit acting like the Chiefs didn't just reload with purpose. I keep hearing this noise. Was the draft a success? Let me remind you, success doesn't always wear a tuxedo on draft night. You don't measure dynasties with draft grades and media hype. You measure them by rings, consistency, execution, and Kansas City has outperformed the entire league in all three categories. 7 new players, and none of them are just names on a spreadsheet. They're surgical moves, calculated chess pieces, handpicked by Veach and Andy Reid with precision. And that's the KC formula. Every time you doubt them, they cook. Every time you say they lost talent, they reload. Every time you whisper they can't do it again, they go out and do it better than before. This draft, calculated aggression, plain and simple. Now pause and ask yourself, when's the last time the Chiefs failed to develop their young talent? When's the last time a rookie didn't become a household name by year 2? Exactly, you can't name one, because no team in the NFL does a better job turning raw potential into prime-time performance. That's not hype. That's culture. That's standard. That's legacy. And speaking of legacy, let's talk Travis Kelce. We're not talking about just any tight end. We're talking about a future Hall of Famer, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, a locker room general who's been there, done that, and is still hungry for more. On his podcast, Kelce didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't say the draft was solid or decent. He said, I love what we did. Love, not like. Not tolerate, love. And when a vet like Kelce is fired up about the newcomers walking into that facility, you better believe there's a reason, because that locker room don't lie. He talked trenches first, because real football starts in the mud. Yeah, they lost some big bodies in free agency. That's life. But they replaced them with hungry, unproven warriors who are ready to make a name for themselves. That's how dynasties stay alive. And protecting Patrick Mahomes, the MVP, the quarterback rewriting history in real time, that's not just important, it's non-negotiable. Kelce said, we got a big old tackle. Translation, some 300-pound juggernaut is about to stand guard over Mahomes like a medieval knight, keeping that jersey clean so he can keep performing his quarterback sorcery. And don't sleep on the secondary. They didn't just add depth. They added options, packages, and nightmares for opposing offenses. Steve Spagnuolo's about to have a toolkit that will keep quarterbacks guessing and sweating. Then there's the offensive weapons. When Kelce says he's excited about new additions, you better listen, because he's out there training with these guys. He knows the chemistry, rhythm, vibe. If he sees potential, it's real. See you next video.